Good evening everyone and welcome along for the final time to EML Premier 1 here on the Racing TV. We are here for tonight's Season 3, Round 10. As you can tell by the title, the season finale here in EML Premier 1 as we take in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix from the Yas Marina circuit. My name is James Head. I'm always going to be taking to the stream, of course, on a Wednesday night. And joining me in the commentary box, Mr. NLR himself may be cheering at the end of this an hour and a half live stream, but it is Mr. Alex the G. Alex, how you doing?
Yeah, thanks, James. I'm doing very well tonight. It's obviously a very, very exciting prospect that we've got ahead of ourselves for this season finale. Round 10, this final race of the season promises to be an absolute cracker, and obviously Abu Dhabi, under the floodlights, what better venue could you pick out for a final than this? I'm really excited for this one.
As am I. It should be a very interesting night indeed. I wish I could show you the graphic that we had on Twitter with NLR versus FER, and it does come down to those two teams battling out tonight. Also, other battles through the field will let you know, of course, as the night goes on, what will happen. But to remind everyone what happened last week in Mexico, it was NLR in the end who took the win with Axelino. Marlon, who drove a very, very good race in second. Zero there in third, finishing third for GSP. What did that do to the championship standings? Well, it brought about a change, with FER leading the way on 291 points, NLR in second on 274, and basically we've worked out the permutation to be exactly this, and hopefully it comes true. NLR need to win first and second, they pick up 55 points. If FER finish third and fourth, they wrap up the championship by a point. FER, however, only need to outscore NLR by as many points, and they are wrapped up as champions for EML Season 3, EML Premier 1 Season 3 champions. VAR in third on 236, ET8 in fourth on 219, then Relentless in fifth on 175, Scuderia Rossel in sixth on 163, GSP 7th on 159, Team Ace in 8th on 152. That is going to be a very good battle to watch on for from 5th downwards. FRL Esports currently in the relegation zone, along with QRT Esports, who are already relegated down to EML Premier 2 next season. They're on 122 and 74 points respectively, as we've got currently 19 drivers in the lobby. But Alex, coming into tonight, it is that age-old battle, FER versus NLR. Garufo back, of course, alongside Axelino, who was a little bit of a doubt in terms of his health a little bit earlier on, and hopefully he's recovering very well from his slight scare that he had. But FER versus NLR, I'm not going to put any bias towards NLR. How do you think tonight is going to go?
Honestly, since I've been involved a little bit in the practice session myself, due to the health concerns that you did mention, I could see clearly that I wouldn't quite have been on the pace of these guys, so they are absolutely fantastic on consistency ground as well, but FVR is always a massive team to take on, so for both of them it's going to be a massive challenge, and overall, yeah, this is going to be a very, very difficult battle, and definitely not the only drivers that will be challenging up at the very top today. And you never know, it could be a spanner thrown in the works by a different driver from a different team.
Yeah, definitely so. I think we were saying a little bit earlier on in DM, certainly on Discord, that Marlon could be the one to watch out for here. I know I've commentated on him around PSGL and F3 around here in Abu Dhabi. Very quick that day. All went sadly in the race for him. Qualifying, though, was very strong indeed. And, of course, as a result of the standings coming into tonight as well, and I'm just trying to find them on my end. Give me a second. I am absolutely hopeless in terms of trying to find the championship standings at this stage. Rankings have been disabled for this competition, apparently, it says, for my driver standings. But I was basically going to say, of course, Axelino wrapped up the championship last week, so NLR will have that advantage as well.
Oh, yep, definitely. So it's going to be a wave of confidence that the NLR will probably be riding on. And last week as well, we obviously had an NLR 1-2 on track, which in the end, I believe, got down to the fuel running out for Drofu, which made him lose out on this second position for himself, meaning there was probably more points in there for the team, but it's just a miscalculation, maybe a misjudgment that led to this points loss, which in the end, well, what can you do about it? It was just a bit unfortunate from his side that it happened the way it did. But yeah, certainly. They will be riding off some very good confidence, knowing that they have achieved this 1-2 on the road last week, and will be, hopefully for them, obviously taking that into this round as well and challenge the boys in the Ferrari team. And yeah, this is going to be really exciting for sure. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, definitely so indeed. Just given the go-ahead, by the way, for everyone to ready up. They are doing that very nicely indeed. Hopefully we don't get a situation where everyone goes to 10 out of 20 again, and then we have to restart the countdown to 30 seconds, like some people have done in the past. We certainly do not want that. But coming into tonight, of course, the Abu Dhabi circuit, which I need to try and pick up, because I haven't got a track map alongside me, which I'm normally very prepared in. 5.2 kilometres and then 3.2 mile, of course, 29 laps awaiting our drivers out on track. Now only the 16 turns, formerly 21 corners around here. 2 DRS zones, one down down in towards turn number 6, and then one down in towards the flat out 180-degree hairpin of turn number 9, of course, down the old GP2 pit straight there. And Alex, coming into tonight, Abu Dhabi, Herman Tilke's obviously carved this track absolutely apart, especially in the final sector. Plenty of overtaking, though, should be had.
Absolutely, yes. And in Abu Dhabi, it is always a pretty big contrast, actually, if you go from league racing to maybe real life, because, yeah, these two DRS zones do promote a lot of battling, but particularly the fact that they come very much back-to-back. And now that maybe one of the big braking zones, been taken out, obviously, with that quick, what is that, turn 9, that would be? Turn 8, turn 9? The left-hand hairpin, of course, as you mentioned, could be very exciting and could lead to some side-by-side action into this last sector of the Grand Prix. And yeah, this just the last sector generally was made a lot more flowing, so that it's a bit more of a joy for the drivers, and maybe it's just away from this low-speed Mickey Mouse section to a little bit more of a flowing character in that final sector, and it's definitely much more enjoyable for the drivers as well. And we'll see how they'll be coping under that pressure in this final round of the season.
Yeah, definitely so, indeed. Looking at the driver lineup as well coming into tonight, only the one change from our driver lineup that we received. J. Cole is in for Izzat. So Izzat out for Relentless. J. Cole is in. Everyone on the left-hand side can probably tell which cars they're already in. Marlon is the first man out on track, of course, for VAR. I'll run through everyone while we go through on the formation lap, on this outlaps at this stage. Getting ahead of myself. Matteo and Bremer in for ET8 in the Red Bull. Then we've got Izzat and Slash in for Relentless, Zero and GSP Payne in for GSP, Marlon and Skylon in for VIR, Bombastic and Fleddy in for QRT, Nardi Perez and Cunningham, arguably the strongest lineup I think that they've got tonight, Tom and Hyro in for Alpha Tauri for the Team Ace team, Axeline and Garufo. They've been absolutely each other's side, I think, throughout the season, and hopefully they can bring it home for NLR tonight. Terry Racer and Kyle Scarrett in for FRL, and then Victor and Sapala in for LFR. So that is for LFR. For Scuderia Russell, they've had a name change. It's the final round of the season. We can get away with it. Marlon, though, the first man out on track. He's coming in toward the right-hander of turn number 12. And this, I've got to say, is a real delight to watch in terms of the track. Marlon, the first man out on track, should try and lay the benchmark for everyone else. Normally, I would expect around 132s around here. It'll be more like the 117s, I think, around here tonight. As Marlon now comes down towards the line. Very high revs in my ears. I'm just going to turn it down slightly in towards turn number 1. Not doing the Simon Y-Gang time trial curb glitch on the right-hand side. Coming through the left-hander of turn number 2. And then through the right-hander of turn number 3. Car killer corner. Kills the bollard, certainly. Coming out of 4. And then in towards turn 5. Dare I say about turn 5? 17.4 in the first sector for Marlon. Of course, Verstappen and Hamilton. He has got a bit of slipstream, actually, Marlon, running down the straight. That is in the shape of Colin N'Golo, who is currently on that lap. He is backing up on the left-hand side there as Marlon now comes down in towards turn 6 and 7. Very long run down this old pit straight in towards the left-hander turn 6 through the right-hander of 7, and now down the old GP2 pit straight, which of course used to be held here in the GP2 days in the early to mid 2010s, as Marlon now comes down in towards the middle sector split, and it's a 52.7 in that middle sector. Just catches the curb, actually runs out wide, really fighting the car, coming to the left-hander of turn 9, and then in towards the right-hander of turn number 10, then through the triple right of 11, and then in toward the right-hander of turn number 12. As we now come through turn 13 on board with him. Underneath the grandstand, through 14. Marino on the right-hand side there as he comes in towards turn 15. There is a Red Bull getting out of the way to the left-hand side. I think that might be Bas Bremer praying up for a lap as Mollem now comes around the final corner on the run toward the line. Just about kept it valid. 23.3 to start off the night as his teammates coming around the corner skyline, and he goes 24.2, 9/10 slower.
Yeah, indeed, a big difference there for the first round. Carlos Garrett just with a 23.5. There's definitely going to be a lot of improvements coming in from the drivers here. Yeah, Marlon 23.3. There's definitely much more time for him in that lap, as we've seen him run very wide into this last turn of turn 16. And yeah, a lot of improvements to be expected generally up and down the field.
Yeah, definitely. So Fleddy on the run to the line, 23.7 from him, so good lap time from him. 4 minutes got to qualify. Marlon out on top, Carl Scarrett second, Fleddy there in third. J. Cole is coming towards the end of his lap for Team Relentless, 53.5 in the middle sector. I did say expect 117s around here. We're well off that. 123s at the minute. I think I was a little bit wishful thinking. Cunning Gullo was invalidated on his lap. Payne on a lap as well, and Tom through the first sector, 17.6s. I think you're on board with Garufo.
I've actually just been on board with Nadi Perez because I was looking at which Ferrari is crossing the line. It's just a very, let's say, energetic start to his lap with a nice kick of oversteer there on the exit of 16. But yeah, certainly some drivers coming to cross the line now. Grofu into P3, so a solid start for him. A slash goes fastest for Relentless, 23.2. So a very strong banker laid down by the Relentless driver.
Yeah, Relentless man out on top, 23.2 more on that in second, 500ths of a second off him. Zero there has just gone into third as well for Team GSP. Groofel there in fourth. Nadi Perez, you were saying, on an energetic start to his lap. He's coming through the middle sector through 6 and 7. Cunning Golo as well, just done up on a lap. Interestingly, actually, he's gone for a split strategy. Of course, now, in with the current patch update, mediums can be running qualifying, and that's exactly what he's doing. Cunning Golo clearly feeling the non-practice effect, 17.5 in the first sector. Nadi Perez, though, showing why he means the business, 52.7 in the middle sector, coming in towards right-hand of turn 11, and then in towards turn number 12. Hope you all doing well, by the way, in the comment section. I'll get to your comments in just a second as Nadi Perez comes through the left-hander of turn 14. That was very neat and tidy, but he's degraded some of that speed away, takes away that speed, might have lost a tenth of a second there, as now he comes in toward the right-hander of the final corner, turn 16, on the run to the line with Nadi Perez. And he doesn't go quicker. Second from him, it's Slash out on top. It's Nadi Perez in second. Marlon there in third. Plenty of support being shown there in the chat for the Forza the Scuderia Rosso team. Leighton, by the way, Newcastle United supporter in the chat. I'm a Sunderland supporter, so we're not going to get on very well tonight, I don't think. Mateo.
This is some rivalries here going on, some inter-team rivalries, if you will. But that's, I suppose, that's going to be the topic of tonight, anyways. Is Axelinho into pole position for the moment after his first run, 23.1. Certainly gives a little outlook of maybe what is still to come from both the teams, really, at the top.
Yeah, potentially so. Sapala is looking good. He's set a 48.7. He's not on a valid lap at this stage, but he is quite up in this middle sector. He's running quite low on fuel at this stage as well. But Axelino out on top, Mateo in second, Slash in third. Only a tenth of a second, basically. In fact, actually a tenth and a half, covering the top 5, which is not too bad. Mirrors SRC qualifying last night, where we had, I think, the top 8 within 0.2 of a second of each other. Sapala now comes in toward the right-hander of turn number 16 on the run to the line with Sapala. Bit of snap of oversteer, but he goes 10th, 23.6 on a multiple run on that set of soft compounded tyres. Hyro has just gone off a lap as well, and he was a 24.3 for Team 8 down there. Snipes has just came out the pit lane. Victor Scarline as well, along with the top guys, who I think are just backing up on their laps as well. Nadi Perez back in the pit lane. All quiet now out on track. Actually, no out on top. Mateo in second, Slash in third. Currently there, 8 minutes gone, and pretty much 10 minutes of qualifying left to go, as Marlon, I think, is just starting up on a lap.
Yes, it does look like it. Obviously invalid on this outlap, but that won't matter once he crosses the line again and into turn 1. You can see the 100-meter board's already missing there on the apex or on the entry to the corner, which is definitely not ideal for most of the drivers. I can say from my own experience that is a very good reference for this turn 1, so I'm thinking the drivers probably will find their way around this. There's almost a 10th up here through this first sector from Marlon. And onto this first straight, my word. Nice little kick of oversteer there from the back end of that Aston Martin. But he keeps it on the road, and right now is definitely on course to improve from his 123.3. Of course, remember, his final sector was not exactly the best of going out wide there in this final turn. So we'll have to have an eye on how much he can improve throughout this lap, though it doesn't look like the tidiest run so far.
Doesn't look like the tidiest run so far, but then again, I thought his first run wasn't that tidy either, and then he's still up there with a 52.8, yeah, and you can tell he's a 10th down in the middle sector, and it looks like he's actually... Did he back off there coming through turn number 9? I don't think he did, as he's still on the lap, saving up that ERS for the final sector. The ERS does drain very quickly around the track, and Marlon just doesn't seem to be getting the braking points right. He just seems a little bit... I wouldn't say out of rhythm, literally saying that, he's just gone for full 360 coming out of turn 14. That is what I was on about in terms of not getting into your rhythm around here. Marlon has not got into his rhythm there, clearly feeling something is holding him back. If he can find what that is in 9 minutes worth of qualifying, I think he should stand a chance of going towards the top end of the field, but currently they're in 5th position, not that good at this stage. Garufo just backing up on an outlap at this stage, and Fleddy, I believe, is 2.5 tenths up through the first sector, 17.3.
Oh, indeed, let's go on board there with Fleddy. Indeed, 2.5 tenths, really strong improvement. We have seen a 17.3 from Marlon as well, so very good first sector from the Alpine driver, although that is a very tight line through there. There is a bump somewhere on that straight, so let's see if that has cost him anything. Doesn't seem like it. 52.6, still up by 2.5 tenths, so very good lap so far. He goes out really wide, and yeah, that is that lap unfortunately gone for him. Still keeps going, but of course has lost a lot of time, the Alpine driver has.
Then again, Marlon did that on his lap at a different corner, and he was still valid, and he set a 23.3. So Fleddy, I think, is going to try and continue on with this lap, and yeah, he is. He's going to come through the right hand of turn 16, misses the curb at turn 16, on the run toward the line, and even with that mistake, he's gone 6th, ahead of Zero. Not a bad lap there at all from him. Garufo's invalidated through the first sector. He's coming in towards the middle sector split. Nardi Perez just starting up on a run as well. Slash is just starting up on a run at this moment in time as well. I'm just trying to flick on board who might be on a lap. Terror Racer he's coming in toward the middle sector split, 53.2. He's not going to try and trouble the top end of the field unless he has an absolute jet-propelled propeller underneath that rear wing of that Alfa Romeo. 24.2, as I think we saw, was that Colin N'Golo going 6th?
Yep. Indeed, it was P6 there for Colin N'Golo, that second FVR driver. Terror Racer really wide on that curve. It's not invalidated his lap, interestingly enough, so it looks like he maybe has lifted enough. So let's have a look now. What is that lap time? I've seen that Haas ahead, or was that Williams? No, Haas indeed, yeah. 15 for Terror Racer. That was a very, very wide line there for the Haas.
There's track limits, and there's that, what he's just done. Nardi Perez is coming through the middle sector split. Nowhere near in the middle sector from Nardi Perez. 53.5, down on his lap time for now. Slash has backed off his lap as well. And Axelino, I think, has just gone green in the first sector, so he actually is improving on his personal best. Harry, by the way, saying in the chat, Arturo Dewan Ruiz is fathering, apparently, and that might be in relation to Carlos Torres from last night in SRC, perhaps. Who knows? There's many, many FVR drivers that I don't really know. Luckily, Charlie Moon is not here, aka Carlos Torres, as Axelino fights the car coming out of turn 7 there, nearly a snap of oversteer. He now comes in towards the left-hand return number 9, and it's a 52.8 in the middle sector, still 200s down.
Really tight margins here. I believe that was that his teammate drove behind him there, maybe giving him a tow, just spinning around there in the background. Just caught that in the aerial shot of Axelino. Slightly down there through the middle sector, but with track evolution there should still be a little bit of time to make up, though he has lost the rear end. And that is one more lap down the gutter, really. It's just so easy to make a mistake in this final sector. Yeah, it's a really big challenge for these drivers to get the lap right under these super troubled and pressured conditions, as they are obviously competing under.
Yeah, definitely. So, Jav, by the way, I think rating my Spanish there in the chat. Yeah, I failed Spanish in school. That was a long time ago. It's now going on nearly 8 years. I think I left school. That just comes to show how old I might be. Matteo is on a lap. He's actually getting slipstream from his teammate Bas Bremer with a 23.5. Still really close in qualifying. The top 12 are separated by less than 0.5 of a second. So it is very close in qualifying. One mistake can really throw your qualifying out the window. And Matteo looked good coming through the first sector. Now coming into the middle sector split. And it's a 52.5 in the middle sector. That is strong from Matteo. He has been the king of qualifying in the past. Singapore, I certainly remember he was up there a couple of weeks ago. go as he now comes through the right-hander of turn 10, then to the right-hander of turn 11, and this is looking nailed on for provisional pole at this stage. As long as he doesn't make a mistake out of 14, he should be fine. Through 14, into the right-hander of turn 15, flat out through here nowadays, and now into the right-hander of turn 16. Slightly wide on the curb, absolutely fine. Gets the car turned in, fights the car out the final corner, and it's still a 23 flat. If he can iron out that mistake that he had, possibly 22s.
Yes, definitely. I've just seen Marlon in between as well, slotting his car into what was second at the time behind Axelinho, but now obviously becomes third with that first 123.0 from Amateo. And there's definitely more time to find justice, we say that. M. Zippala, first one to jump into the 22s.
Yes, Apollo very strong on his day. Scuderia Rossoman to the top step of the podium for now in qualifying. Whether he'll remain that way remains to be seen. Matteo there in second, Axelino there in third, Molan there in fourth, as you say, invalidating on his lap. Scarlan is not on a lap either. Hyro is not on a lap, I believe. Victor is, though, through the first sector, 1100s down through the first sector from him, and Tom is on a lap as well, but I think he's actually invalidated on his lap, or certainly backed off, as Hyro actually is on a lap. The Frenchman in towards the final couple of corners in this middle sector, and in fact he is not. He's 1.8 seconds down. I knew I was going to take that on face value, to be honest. Tom not on lap, as I say. Victor is the only one that is out there, the other LFR man. 24 flat to his name, currently a second off his teammate. Very close qualifying session though, considering Snipes' time is totally illegitimate. 40.3, he will obviously improve hopefully towards the end of the session. Victor 2.5 cents up. He is aiming to put it potentially 14 drivers within 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really make a prediction at this point, can you? But Victor, I think he has picked up quite a slipstream down this first DRS straight, and that's where the main time gain came from.
No.
But again, yeah, we've seen that earlier as well. A big rear end loss there in the middle of turn 14, there we go. And invalidates on the final corner as well. I mean, that's just a sign of things to come maybe for these final runs. Still would have improved by a 10th. But yeah, we've seen the anger there in his wheel movement, so yeah.
There's anger.
So easy here.
Yeah, there's anger, and then it's showing it out on track like that. And Victor, yeah, he'll be so annoyed, I think. To be honest, it wasn't really an invalidation anyways. He only stepped 2 wheels over the line. And I've seen drivers go further wide out there, back off, and then they're not invalidated. It just comes to show what a broken game it is in terms of, obviously, the track limits, especially around this track. I know the pit lane certainly might catch a few people out later on. Snipes in the first sector, 7.3 seconds up in the first sector. Not a bad first sector at all from Snipes. Sadly, not a 10, as he really snaps it coming out of turn number 5. Sadly, not a sub 10 second first sector there from Snipes. It's 17.3. Looking quite good at this stage. Jab, by the way, saying in the comment section, I had black and white TVs when growing up. I can confirm I didn't. I actually had colour television, and Teletubbies was on my TV. That's how old I was. Snipes coming through the left-hander of turn number 11, then in towards turn number 12. Look up the Teletubbies on Google if you don't know what I'm on about. Snipes in through the middle sector, 52.9. He's up there, he's purple, but he's not purple out of everyone else. Around 4/10 down, I think, on the top guys in that middle sector. And for good measure, he just invalidates.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just the same thing here every time, particularly on this exit of turn 8. It is unfortunately such a difficult traction zone as well, and then if you go out wide as well, it would either just throw you off that curb or invalidate your lap time. It's really, really difficult to get the balance right there. But like, on these final runs now, there might be a lot of slipstream games going on between multiple teams, as I believe NLR would have been one of them. Just checking on board here, yep, Jirofu only improving slightly at the moment, but this is into the final sector, and I believe, at least from my inside info that I did receive, that they might well be trying slipstream games for these final runs.
I hope so. I really hope so, because it can't get you 2.5 10s. Go Rufo! Goodness me! Cold Brown coming through the right 115, and again through 16. Doesn't really improve. Actually sets the same lap time, 23.525. Talk about consistency. That's anything to go by. NLR might wrap up the championship by the end of this. Sapala out on top. Mateo there in second. Axelino in third. Marlon there in fourth. Marlon is coming to the end of his warm-up lap at this stage. Zero is on a lap, so he's the first of the main protagonists we're going to ride on board with at this stage. Cullen I believe, is through the middle sector as well, along with Nardi Perez. And in fact, Nardi Perez is furthest on. So let's watch the FVR, man. Do not discount him out at your peril, especially with a middle sector like that. 52.4 in the middle sector from Nardi Perez, and it all goes to pot coming out of turn number 9 because he spins.
Oh, such a dramatic way to bow out of this qualifying session for him. Is yeah, it just shows how quickly these mistakes are made on this circuit. And I believe one of the next drivers to cross the line would be Axelino, who, as I said, received a massive slipstream down here and does set a 52.4 for himself. So he might well be challenging at the very front here with his teammate, unfortunately, obviously, for the team. Down a bit further here, but P3 at the moment might well be looking to improve in this final sector.
Axelino run on board with them, coming through 13, underneath the grandstand now through 14, really pushing it to the line here from the German, the NLR man, looking to try and put it on top, coming to the right hand with 10-15, Cotton goes third there as well, but Axelino on the run toward the line, 22.8 I think, 22.7, goes quick as Sapala is not improving in the middle sector, 52.7 in the middle, Mateo's on a lap as well, he's coming through, it didn't catch his middle sector split, but we're going on board with him now, in towards the final couple of corners, Marlon there in fifth, I think, has backed off as he runs the line. Yeah, he's not going to go for, I think he's backed off coming through this section of the track, actually, through 13 and 14. And now Mateo coming through the final couple of corners. I think Marlon actually lost his front wing, if I'm not mistaken. Mateo on the run towards the final couple of corners, on the run to the line. Can the Red Bull man knock the Axelino off top? No, he can't, and he goes 500ths of a second behind. Sapala is second still. Mateo there in third. Slash is the only one, but he is backed off on a lap. Bremer through the final corner. He's not going to try and trouble. He looks like he's pulling the 5-second penalty illegal blocking type down in towards turn number 1 there. If that is the case, then we will, of course, start the session, because it is a glitch, I know, in this game. It is Axelino out on top. Sapala there in second. Mateo there in third. Your man on top by a really good margin in the end.
1.5 tenths clear in such a tight grid. In fact, even more. Just calculated that one in my head. It's 0.17 of a second. So that is a mighty qualifying performance. Not something I particularly would have expected here. But as this grid is shaping up with these drivers, obviously everyone's super talented on this grid. And as we can see, the gaps here that maybe a bit bigger than we might have expected. As yeah, it's just an even bigger factor of uncertainty really for this race, which is going to make it all the more exciting, of course.
Definitely so, indeed, and you would say it is advantage, rather, FVR compared to NLR. And I'll run through the full grid order now. Axelino out on top from Sapalo in second, Mateo there in third, Cunningham starting fourth, Marlon there in fifth, Zavo in sixth, Slash there in seventh, Nardi Perez in eighth. That's why I was on about FVR out qualifying NLR, even with Axelino out on top. Skyline and Scarrett running off the top 10. Then it's Fleddy, Payne, Bremer, Garufo's got a lot of ground to make up there in 14, Tom, Hyro and then 16, Victor, Terror Racer, Jay Collins, Snipes, who didn't get a valid lap time in. He's right down at the back of the field. But it is that man out on top, Axelino. But in terms of qualifying, in terms of overall team performance, FVR have currently got, even though it was 4th and I think 9th position there for their qualifying positions, should mark out to be a good race. I've told these guys to give us a show tonight. Hopefully, over the next 29 laps, over the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes or so, we are going to crown the EML Premier 1 champions of Season 3. And I know my co-commentator at this stage is probably getting very nervous, but I'm going to push him anyways. Who's your top 3?
I mean, this is a classic question, really. I mean, obviously, it is a very surprisingly strong quality performance from Axelino, who actually did pick up his first pole position, to my surprise. I just copped that up myself. Yeah, so obviously strong performance, but it's so tough to call the top 3 here. Obviously, Marlon will always be one to look out for, but yeah, you never know with those FVR drivers starting maybe a bit further back than they would have wanted, and obviously in the middle of the pack a little bit as well, so there's always a bit of a danger factor in there. But I think it's going to be between these kind of drivers, definitely.
Well, let's wait and find out. The timer is now ending. I am getting on right on the edge of my bed, right on the edge of my seat. 5 red lights now going out in the gantry for the final round of EML Premier 1. And it is light down the way we go, and Axelino gets a very good start. Apollo is strong off the line, and Mateo's actually bogged down off the line. He's under pressure from Marlon in towards turn number 1, but Axelino leads the way. Apollo there in second, Marlon there in third. Already outguns Mateo. Cunningham was through and into fifth ahead of Slash. Nardi Perez has made up position. He's going side by side actually with Zayro through turn 3. Very clean start by all. Jay calls us a position behind Snipes. Coming through turn 3 now towards turn 5 for the first time. Axelino leads the way. Apollo in second, and Mateo and Cunningham getting the elbows out. Coming out of turn number 5. Everyone again clean through turn 5. Very good racing so far. Zero and Slash now side by side with Nadi Perez trying to catch in the background as well. Axelina leads the way though. Sapolo in second, Molon there in third. Everyone but Turn Racer, Tom and Snipes on the side of medium compounded at the back of the field. Everyone else is on the side of hards as Carl Scarrett tries to get us in on Skyline. He goes right around the outside, coming through turn number 6 and 7. And now Slash and Nadi Perez are side by side as well as we pan on board with him. Nadi Perez already ahead, heading towards turn number 9. He gets the job done. And now Payne trying to come out of absolutely nowhere. Skyline down the inside line of Carl Scarrett has spun. Carl Scarrett spins round. Payne was on the inside line, just tapped a little bit until that point. Very clean racing. There's an Alpine gun absolutely spinning in the background. That's Fleddy round into the wall. Axelina leads the way. Sapolo in second, Mall in third. Up towards the top end of the field, very clean indeed. Bottom end of the field, turn 9 seems to be the point in the race where it all changed.
And that might well be a trend for these remaining laps as well, because obviously always a very difficult corner. There's still more spins going on at the back there, and possibly more contact, but look at this train. I believe this is just going to be a massive theme throughout this race. But now Axelino will be a little bit on his own, maybe. Despite the two FBR drivers being slightly separated on the track, they are still more or less together, with Jorofa only making up 2 places there in the midfield. So it's overall still going to be a very, very tough task here. But it's still early doors. And I mean, Marlon, brilliant start from him, from 5th immediately up to 3rd pretty much. So very, very good stuff. You might have a say here.
Garufo in trouble. Hyro dived it down the inside line. Sorry to cut you off. Garufo was round, spun by Hyro, and now Hyro is under pressure from J. Cole. He's got to get them both down the straight, maybe in towards turn 6 and 7. He's now running side by side. And look at Hyro again to the inside line, nearly 3 wide in towards turn 6 and 7. And Garufo just about comes out on top. And I think Hyro there actually let him through rather than anything. So Garufa there in 13th, J. Cole 14th, Hyro there in 15th. Good sportsmanship if that was the case. Hopefully it was. Carl Scarrett on the back as well, along with Fleddy. But Garufa in trouble early, and that is not good news for NLR as Carl Scarrett tries to go to the inside line on Hyro, but doesn't get the job done as Mateo and Cotton are fighting very hard for 4th and 5th.
And those medium tire runners might be causing a bit of an upset here, though we only have 2 left of them now, obviously, now that I believe Tom would have been one who has started on the mediums and had to pit in immediately on this first lap onto the set of hards. But yeah, the gaps towards the back particularly are quite pulled apart, while at the top we have, I believe, the first 9 drivers at the moment still within DRS range, as it does get enabled now. So 9 drivers in DRS range, with Bas Bramer looking very, very likely to join in here.
I think we might have caught the same thing. It was that Nadi Perez going for a little bit of a spin, nearly coming through turn number 3. Goodness me, yeah, Nadi Perez very much on the back foot, but he has got Zero in his sights, and this could be quite easy if Nadi Perez has got the straight line speed, which he has already. Breezes past down the straight. That 0-0 wings potentially there in effect for the FVR team. Nadi Perez soon he's into 6, 0 and 7. Even with Axelino leading the way, Cunningham and Nadi Perez are doing enough, I think, to try and fight off Axelino in terms of the points. And as it stands, FVR will be crowned champions in Premier 1. Marlon might have something to say about that though. He's on the back of Spala in towards turn number 9. He's not going to get the job done. He's fighting further down the field. Skyline going side by side with Bas Bramer. Have to do a reverse, going around the outside now, coming through turn number 9. Bas Bramer on the inside line. A little bit elbows out there, to be honest. A little bit aggressive for my liking from Bas Bramer. He knows better than that. Carl Scarrett and Hyro on the back of each other as well, and Freddy right on the back of these guys. As Snipes, I think, has got the job done on Victor further down the field, but Axelino leads the way. Sapolo in second, Marlon there in third. Everyone's running very good. There's a yellow flag, and that, I think, is Victor.
Yep, it is indeed. It's a spin in... Let me calculate this. That would be turn...
Braking to turn 12.
11, 12? I mean, there is a very awkward bump in that corner, I can tell you that. It is really, really awkward. Particularly, it's exactly on the braking while they're still steering the car. So it's really, really tough to actually get the braking down right there. But I mean, one driver right now who might be on a bit of a move is GSP Payne, who is right on the back of Relentless Slash and might be trying to catch on this DRS train ahead. Obviously, no ERS actually left for Relentless Slash, as he is already flashing that red light, which Payne is not. And now he's moving past the Mercedes and is trying to join ahead.
Marlon, I thought was going to go for the move. Sorry to cut you off there, Marlon. I thought was going to go for the move on the back of Zapala. He looked to the inside line. He nearly then locked up into the back of Zapala. Good job he wasn't there. Good job he wasn't any inches closer, because I think that could have ended in absolute chaos. But as you were saying there, Alex, Payne through on Slash.
Yeah, this is just a standard little move there on the first DRS zone, and now he has a 2-second gap to make up to his teammate Zero, which Zero can't really give up, obviously, as he will lose touch to that train himself.
Oh, Axelino makes a huge mistake out of the race lead, and Sapala takes the lead. Sapala now in front from Axelino in second. I called that, unfortunately, on helicopter cam, so we saw the full ending of that. There was a Haas, I think, in qualifying that did that, just on slow speed, over-rotated the car. That's exactly what Axelino has done. Over-rotated the car at very slow speed in 4th gear, I think it was, coming through the left-hander at turn number 3, and again getting caught the curb coming out of turn number 3. That was at turn 13 and 14. Axelino out of the race lead, but actually more beneficial, because he's got less EOS than Sapala, but he can attack him.
Leave one driver to look out for now, though, is Marlon, who's rubbing his hands here maybe a little bit. I've actually caught a similar mistake right behind that from Cotton N'Golo, so it was really just both of these drivers maybe not quite on their game, as Cotton N'Golo completely missed the chicane there. Oh my, that was a bit close there for comfort. So let's see if Matteo can maybe capitalize on this. I don't think he can. There's enough DRS in store for Cotton N'Golo, but he's now 9/10 down on the top 3.
Yeah, 9/10 on the top 3, but if these guys don't fight ahead of him, should be quite easy, I think, to gain. Beautiful helicopter cam coming through the left-hand return number 9 there. Sapala leads the way from Axelino in second, Marlon there in third, Cunningham in fourth. There's the Marino on the right-hand side as they now dive their way in towards turn number 12. Sapala, though, now handling the pressure. Just how good he's handling the pressure, though, remains to be seen. Axelino now is on the front foot rather than the back foot, so that pressure got to him. Obviously made that mistake. The best way he can turn that from a mistake is obviously to try and get the move done, but still at the early stages of this race, though, so I don't think it's going to happen more immediately out on track. And Marlon himself was even saying in qualifying, my God, just not my day at the moment. Well, it could be his day. He's currently in third, defending off Cunningham, who's now within 4.5 tenths of him. Doing a good job for now, Marlon. The VAR man, though, hopefully will not get into his own head, because I know he has had that in the case in the past in PSGL. He gets into his own head, and when he does, he makes his mistakes, and that's what hopefully you won't be seeing tonight. He's on the back of Axelino.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it's a
Nadi
situation
Perez
right now. Oh, look at, yeah, Nadi Perez indeed. Going for that on Mateo, and looks like very easy move, in fact, from the Ferrari driver, FVR there, and for the 5th, it's now looking really good for them.
Yeah, really good from Nadi Perez, using his experience, of course, as a former Williams Esports driver. He's into 5th position, Mateo there in 6th. Mateo will try and fight back, and here's Marlon on the back of Axelino in towards turn number 9. I thought he was going to think about risking it again. He didn't. Axelino there, still second. Marlon there in third. Cunningham in fourth. But now, if you were in the situation, and I'm now going to absolutely say this because there's fights going on further down the field. That's Garufo and Skyline. The 2 Germans find that out. Garufo gets the job done for turn 9. Gets the job done. And there's 3 wide in the background, nearly. J. Cole, Hyro, Kyle Scarrett and Fleddy all in another battle. They're fighting on. But I was going to say, though, I'm putting you now in the position as FVR team manager. Would you swap Nadi Perez and Cunningham in terms of their positions? Because Nadi Perez, we have seen down the straight, is much quicker. Underneath, though, the slipstream train, he doesn't seem that quick compared to Cunningham. So, what would you do?
Yeah, this is really tough. You've actually really put me on the spot here, because this is a really tough decision to make here. Neither of them have looked extremely quick, although Nadi Perez obviously has made his way through from 8th all the way to 5th, and is still looking to build on that. So despite that straight line speed advantage, maybe the only thing that would separate him from Cotton N'Golo right now is that experience that he has. Obviously, massive experience from the Spanish driver there in P5, and yeah, that would be one thing to look out for if you were to get ahead. And obviously, with 2 drivers in the top 5, though, might cause a bit of a headache on strategy as well, as that pit window will start opening.
J. Cole nearly went at the back of Hyro there, just right on board with what I was covering at the back end of the field. We saw Bas Brayman, by the way, through on Slash into P9 as well, in another battle that just spawned out of absolutely nowhere. And look at Fleddy's speed around the outside of Kyle Scarrett. Kyle Scarrett got completely put off by J. Cole, nearly going into his rear end, or nearly going to Hyro's rear end. And now around the outside of turn number 9, Fleddy might just get this job done. Through the right-hander 10, through the right-hander 11, through the right-hander 12. Job done for Fleddy. He's into 15th, as Axelino trying to apply a bit of pressure to Sapala. In the end, though, maybe succumbing to the pressure of Marlon, who's just made a mistake out the final corner.
Yeah, Marlon is extremely quick. Yeah, he's putting a lot of pressure on these top two drivers. He maybe wants to get a move on for himself, for Virtual Insanity Racing as well. He's also only got one driver, or VAR only have one driver up there as well, with Skyline in 13th. So kind of the same image really, 2nd and 3rd, and 12th and 13th for NLR and VAR. And yeah, they're just looking to maybe profit and capitalize with one driver at least, which is not a thing that FBR can say. But yeah, earlier on I touched upon the strategy maybe. Look at Axelino there, closing the DRS early. Might he be looking maybe to make an overtake on this back straight now?
Potentially so. I think he was going to make the move done there, to be honest. He now puts on the ERS, and now is he going to go for broke? I think he is. That ERS now being used up. Zapala will defend to the outside line, and I think it's a come on through for Axelino. He's through and he's into the lead of the race. Zapala there in second. He'll try and get a really good run out of turn number 9, but that's Axelino's job done. He is through and he's into the lead. Zapala there in second, Marlon there in third. But now it puts him in exactly the same position he was in just a few laps ago, with quite a bumpy track surface as well. Going low speed through turn number 14, he's now in the lead of the race, hasn't made a mistake coming through there this time around, which is good to see. Axelino though, out on top, Zapala there in second, Marlon there in third. Maze, by the way, just putting up in the chat, FER 323, NLR 307, maybe add a little more points onto that because Marlon's just ran wide, Cunning Gullo through and he's into third.
Yeah, Marlon, big mistake there. I believe that might have been, or must have been really a lock-up there on the outside of entry to turn 16, so it's a very simple mistake to make around here, but Nardi Perez will now be putting a lot of pressure for sure on the Aston Martin driver. I was thinking earlier that Axelino would maybe try to just put a car between himself and Marlon, but now that obviously becomes two cars, and I'm not sure if he's going to be much more comfortable with that.
Yeah, Zapala's not going to close in on him down in towards turn number 6 for now. Zapala there still in second, Nardi Perez on the back of Marlon. Oh, I thought he was going to... Do you know what? I thought I had a vision in my mind of him diving it down the inside and getting the job done. I want more action! I want more action! It might come with Nardi Perez on the back of Marlon in towards turn number 9, but I don't think so. He turns off his ERS and runs down the straight. He's got 52% of ERS compared to Marlon on 35. Victor is the first 3-second penalty holder of tonight as well. He's down there in 19th position and has came into the pit lane, obviously, after early contact, I think it was Snipes, if I'm not mistaken. Him and Snipes got caught up in each other in turn 1. Amaze corrected himself there. Now 326 for FER, NLR on 307. I wouldn't trust Maze though if I was you in terms of the points. We'll try and keep up with it. Maze is a really good Ted Kravitz, I've got to say, in the comment section for us. Keeps us up to date, certainly. But I think in terms of the fast nature of this race, everything will change, and it'll probably change quite quickly.
Yep, I think so as well. And I think one team to maybe keep an eye out to cause a little bit of an upset there in this top 7 train right now would be GSP, purely because they only have that one car in the train, and Payne is trailing that train by about 2.5 seconds. Could that maybe see a bit of an undercut going on from these guys to put a bit of spice into this top 7 or top 6 fight, maybe top 5 if we see both FBR drivers obviously in that fight. We have a Mercedes around there in the back with J. Cole, yeah. I haven't quite seen that. Let me just quickly check over here. Ooh. Still, we've got some slipstream games going on here with Hyrio trying to hold his position against Fleddy. That could well be a move down into the long left-hand hairpin. It's really close there, but it's down in 14, so big overstep moment there for Hyrio. It's just really tight racing all the way up and down the field.
A big thank you, by the way, to PlayStation, reminding me that my November games are still up for sale. As Fleddy goes right around the outside of Hyro, halfway through commentary, and I get a notification like that. They pop up at the weirdest of times. Actually leads the way, Zapala in second, Cunning Gullo in third. Fleddy's still on the back of Hyro, not getting the job done. Maybe wary of that contact that he had a little bit earlier on. I've got to say, though, the helicopter cams around this circuit are absolutely brilliant. The graphics on this track are absolutely brilliant as well. But what I can say for certain is Nardi Perez, I think, is going to get the job done on Marlon very soon indeed. Marlon maybe just getting into his own head once again. Nardi Perez just on the back of him, 67%. If there's any move going to happen, I think, out of this top 7, I think it could be this one, or Zero Mateo in behind as well. So watch out for this as Axelino now tries to break Zapala outside of a second. Clear mistake, I think, in the final sector from Zapala. He will now try and hunt down Axelino and immediately will get towards around 0.3 of a second as he comes into the braking zone of turn number 6. Once again, Axelino, Zapala, Cunning Gullo top 3. Currently, still nothing really happening at the front end of the field. However, Fleddy and Haro, that move is going to be made potentially down the straight in towards turn number 6 and 7. And Fleddy on the outside line gets the job done and outmasters Haro. And I think Garufo's just gone through and Slash as well. He's fighting back down the straight as Garufo is through.
Yes, he is. That is a solid move, I believe. That would have been down with that chicane. I didn't see them to be particularly close, so yeah, maybe it might have been a bit of a mistake from Slash in the end to put Garufa there into the top 10. And maybe a little late surge going on. I think soon the pit window would start opening as well. And therefore that will put the drivers into a very interesting position, definitely. And yeah, this race is just keep unfolding, really, and whose favor will it be? We will only know at the end of those 29 laps. So really, really interesting scenarios here, up and down the field. As a yellow flag there, that's J. Cole again, out of turn 8, so not the best of days for him with his teammate in 11th.
Yeah, not the best of days at all. J. Cole still continuing though. He's in 18th position, Slash there, up in 11th. Relentless, of course, fighting for 5th. They need to score any points. If I was J. Cole, I'd continue on, regardless of being a lap down. You can still get points right up until 19th position, of course, here in EML on the point system. Marlon on the back of Condengolo, running down the straight once again. I honestly think there is going to be a move happening very soon indeed. But there never is. There never is. They're all running a DRS train at this stage. It is a little bit boring, to be honest, to cover the same bit of action once again. Nothing really happening further down the field either. Skyline and Terror Racer, I think, are going to be the next battle. More immediately, as Marlon, again getting bumped to the close back of Condengolo, coming through turn number 9. But Skyline more immediately on the back of Terror Racer in towards turn number 9. Is he going to think about going for the move around the outside? No. And every single action I ride on board with always ends up in not happening. Skyline then 13, Terror Racer and 12, they remain as they are for now. Thanos, by the way, saying in the chat he expects an FVR DNF on lap 19, and obviously that will be to NLR's advantage if that is the case, and I believe he is one of your supporters, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah, I can fairly confidently say yes, that is true, and I won't comment on that. I won't wish any harm on any drivers up and down this field, obviously. Yeah, it's just how racing goes sometimes. We'll see what happens. Obviously, lap 19 is a very precise prediction, let's say, as well. And yeah, we'll have a look as to how this race unfolds. We're approaching halfway stage, and yeah, this top 5, as you said, really, we're always expecting moves to happen, and yeah, this just doesn't transpire, does it?
Yeah, Jav, I think, doing the reverse psychology. Snipes, by the way, into the pit lanes, come on to a set of mediums. That's very early, I've got to say, for a set of medium compounded size. From my experience of commentating around here in Abu Dhabi in WOR, Garufo, in the meantime, side by side with Bass Bromus. I'll come back to my point. Side by side, down towards turn 6, gets the job done. Garufo through, and he's into 9. Bass Bromus there in 10. But yeah, back to my point on that set of medium compounded size. It will be extremely difficult for Snipes to get to the end of this race. Normally, drivers, I've tended to see pit in lap 16, lap 17 onwards, and then go for a set of mediums towards the end of the race. They only last mediums around here around 8 or 9 laps, and then you are in trouble. So that is where obviously the real form is going to come into play. Sapola just makes a mistake coming through 13 there. Condengolo right on the back of him, Hunting right on the back of him, coming in towards the right hander of 16 once again, and nobody at the top 7 pitting in. So they're clearly listening to my strategies and not the strategy of Snipes down the field. Snipes may as well go though for broke. He's got nothing to lose, maybe though a lot to gain though.
I'm just seeing Marlon, who's really struggling at this point in time. I've seen him already on the previous lap go pretty deep into the turn 6 and 7 chicane. And it's just, yeah, it just doesn't seem really on his mojo, and it doesn't seem in his real consistency rhythm. Nardi Perez was going to try and attempt an overtake into the turn 8 left-hander, but just didn't have the best exit for himself. But I mean, Marlon, it's quite evident for him that he's struggling a lot to keep up with this top 5, but crucially still does for himself. Victor out of the race. Safety car could throw his banner in the works here.
Yep.
And yes, it does.
Safety car deployed out on track, and that, I think, is quite fortunate for everyone towards the top end of the field that were going to think about cutting in. It doesn't really do Snipes any favours either. He's on that set of mediums. He can come back into the pit lane. Certainly. Lap 14 out of 29. It's Victor who has spun the first safety car of tonight. Maybe not the last. Maybe we'll get one on the final 2 laps of the race and not let lap cars through like in 2021. Actually, no, leads the way. They'll Sapolo in second. Colin Gullo in third. The less we say about that, I think the better. But Axelino leading the way, Sapolo in second, Colin Gullo in third. And I think, honestly, they'd be quite foolish not to pit in on this safety car because otherwise they'll be losing a lot of positions on the restart.
Yes, I mean, definitely. And I think one team that might have a bit of a problem with that maybe could be FBR, as they do have 2 drivers very far up here. And Nardi Perez, yeah, just doing his name every bit of favor there, holding up everybody like Sergio Perez did, obviously, in 2021. Ooh. And we have to have a we have to have a look at how that looks in the incidents, really, because that is a big delta kept for sure, and he's losing still a lot of time with the stack here.
Yeah, it's about 4 seconds, I think I counted that just on my little fingers that I've got. 4 seconds, roughly. McLaren got held up in the pit lane, and actually, in fact, Nardi Perez got held up in the pit lane because Zabel's now ahead of him. Matteo also ahead of him. So Nardi Perez, that real hold up in the pit lane, has cost him absolute, well, not tons of positions. He's there in 7th, but he's basically on the back of that DRS train before they came, of course, into the pit lane. Everyone, by the way, on a set of mediums, apart from Terracer, was the only one out there on a set of mediums. He now comes in for a set of hard compound tyres as they fly their way. Suddenly my graphics has just gone completely and utterly wayward coming through the pit lane there, completely bright, shining into my eye. Axelino leads the way, Sapala second, Colin Gillo in third. We are under safety car conditions at this stage. May Sane, FBR 326, NLR 310. That is pre-safety car. However, everything will change, I am sure, after this safety car restart. But one man I think that is not going to be happy, obviously, with that is Marlon, because he has been overtaken, actually, by Kundingolo in the pit lane as well. Marlon now down in 4th. He was on that sort of hard compound tyres. I think probably fortunate to get rid of those hards because he was definitely struggling on that compound.
Yes, the question now will be obviously how well they will cope with maybe slightly more worn medium tyres than they would once, particularly towards the end of this race. And I'm just looking for some position changes up and down the field. I believe Bas Bremer has actually got past Rofu again through the slight double stack, slight delay for Williams and for NLR as well. But Nardi Perez, obviously the big loser out of that. Payne has also lost a lot of places for GSP. Was, I believe, in P8 and is now down in 11th after having to stack slightly with 0 ahead. And yeah, this is obviously a factor that you have to consider here. These 2 drivers in the top 5 there for FBR definitely did seem to cost them for the moment.
Yeah, definitely so, and I think, honestly, it has cost them. Nardi Perez, especially down in 7th, he got cost, obviously, 2 positions. Matteo Zero, 5th and 6th. Obviously works in NLR's favour. However, Nardi Perez is still outscoring Garufo, and that is why the swing needs to really be taken as Terror Racer is in the pit lane. Obviously not going onto that set of hard compounder tyres. Now, they have to use up, of course, 2 mandatory compounder tyres during this race. Snipes has done that with a set of soft compounder tyre. He's also back in the pit lane, probably to go back onto a set of mediums, I would assume. Terror Racer the same. He's going set of mediums, and Snipes, just to confirm, he is in the pit lane. And he is also going for a set of mediums. So everyone on the yellow wall tyre, if you are epileptic and don't like the colour yellow, unfortunately this is not the race for you. Axelino leads the way, Sapolo there in 2nd, Cullen and Goodall there in 3rd on lap 16 out of 29 at this stage. And looking through the chat as well, Immortal, by the way, saying Crashgate. Yeah, Crashgate. We don't want to talk about Crashgate. Hopefully we don't end up in a situation like what we did last night in SLC, where OP thought it might have been great to accidentally or intentionally dive bomb down the inside of the man who was leading the race in... it was one of the FER boys who was leading the race, I think. He dived down the inside line, and... no, it was actually Tom. It was Tom who dived down the inside line, and both of them have ended up in quite a lot of trouble. So hopefully nobody tries that. If you do, you go into the steward's room, and I will report you personally myself.
Well, I mean, that's obviously an approach that we have to take in these situations. Can't accept this standard of racing. I believe we might just have another safety car up here with Ace Tom being at the back. They're still 16 seconds back from the field.
Yeah.
It's one more lap behind these conditions. And I do think that maybe in terms of tyre wear, it's not going to make that much of a difference as we maybe would expect. As these medium tyres, even the hards, do wear pretty quickly. and pretty strongly around here, but this is only going to be multiplied really with the mediums, and it's going to be, I'd assume, probably 12 laps of action after this, if I calculate this correct. Yeah, lap 18 would be 12, yeah, indeed, so 12 laps realistically should maybe be even a little bit less mileage than they would normally expect.
Yeah, definitely so, and obviously on this safety car, this extra lap does give them that little bit of extra tyre wear towards the end of the race as well, which is crucial around here because the mediums do not last beyond 8 or 9 laps. 8 or 9 laps by my calculations, 26, 27, they should be fine to the end of the race without hopefully any punctures or any more safety cars or VSCs out on track. May's also, by the way, putting in the chat, FER 324, NLR 315 after the safety car. But that is not including the position changes that we are probably, more than likely, about to see in the final 12 laps of this race. 9 points difference currently. May's also saying in the chat, NLR 3 wins, FER 2. Currently, though, NLR will go for 4 wins if it was to remain as it is, and Axelina was to win as it is out on track. Of course, safety car come in, 12 laps to go. My co-commentator, I'm sure, is going to be very, very nervous, and his stomach will be sick, quite literally, I'm sure, for the next 12 laps.
Not even going to beat around the bush here, absolutely will, yes. This is going to be really, really exciting. Particularly, we've seen Nardi Perez, he's got through the field earlier on as well, and is now in this same position. So, will he be able to make up the same ground as earlier? Could there maybe be a slight mistake sneaking in from the Ferrari driver? Or will we see that same run of form again, as the safety car is coming in this lap? Meaning Axelinho will now be taking the job of Bernd Mailänder ahead, and he, well, effectively now keeping the pace to himself and decide for himself when he wants to go again.
Yeah, I have a feeling if he backs up the pack enough, he will go exit the turn 15 into the final corner. The safety car is quite slow through this final sector because of the technical nature and because the AI is not coded to actually go properly at around 100 miles an hour like the safety car does in real life. Axelino leads the way, but he is the virtual Bernd Mailänder, as you say. Virtual safety car is coming in. From Axelino's perspective anyways, the real safety car is coming into the pit lane now. So Axelino, when does he decide to go? I think around here would be absolutely perfect. Coming through right-hander of 15. Still waiting, and now he says go. Axelino on the exit of turn 15, absolutely floors it, lets a little bit of a pack behind. Nardi Perez has certainly been caught up a little bit in that, but Axelino leads across the line to start lap 18. Sapolo there in second, Cunningham in third, Moran there in fourth, everyone in single file down in towards turn 1, nobody going for rash moves, which is good to see. Nardi Perez, though, really wants to get on with things. He's on the back of Zero, Moran on the back of Cunningham as well. He runs out wide coming through turn number 3, now through 4, now through 5, and Nardi Perez is going to do a Verstappen down the inside line towards turn number 5. Zero sees him coming. That is a late length from Nardi Perez, but he gets the job done. He's into sync. David Croft-esque there as well for my commentary. Matteo on the back of Marlon. Cunningham on the back of Zapola. And now things could get quite tense in towards turn number 6 because Cunningham right on the back doesn't get the job done. And Matteo diving in on Marlon tries to get the job done. Through 6, through 7, the Red Bull forced out to dry. Mola made a mistake on the inside curve. Nardi Perez now has got a 2-wide scenario to go. Where is he going to go though? He's boxed in slightly. Matteo on the inside line, Mola right in front of him, and Nardi Perez is doing the decent thing, backing off, letting these two go at it, and Matteo dives down the inside, gets 4th.
Yeah, indeed. I'm just on board with Zero. They had the absolute best seat for that one. And oh my word, what brilliant racing here as we had on this restart there. There's been some moves going on. Matteo obviously passed Marlon now, and maybe this could be a good thing for FBR because Marlon has not been too confident maybe in this first stint. Does that change in the second stint now on those medium tyres? We are yet to see about that one. But yeah, the top 9 still staying together. In fact, right now it's still one massive DRS train if that does stay until the DRS is enabled. And yeah, we just love to see this with just 10 laps to go in this season, indeed, for EML Premier 1. And this is going to be a very tight contest for sure. Oh.
Snipes and Terror Racer are side by side coming through turn 2, now through turn number 3. This is at the back of the field. Garufo, by the way, has just got the job done on Bas Framer, doing a Verstappen in toward turn number 9. And now Snipes down the inside line, gets Terror Racer, does he? Terror Racer hangs it around the outside. To be fair, that is brilliant from Terror Racer. Gets the job back done, and now Tom has got the box seat to try and go on the back of him. And Conan and Gullo side by side with Sapala gets the job done in towards turn number 6. Absolute mayhem here in Abu Dhabi. Axelino leads, Cunningham in second, Sapala in third, but at what cost? Because now Matteo right on the back of him, running down the straight. absolute hammer and tongue racing. This is what we like to see. Kyle Scarrett on the back of Hilo is now going to try and get the job done. Hilo on the inside line. Kyle Scarrett on the outside line. The Australian hangs it on the inside line. Kyle Scarrett around the outside of turn number 9. Ooh. Traction on the outside will benefit, and he gets the job done. Kyle Scarrett, the Brit, is through, and he's into 14. Hiro tries as he must. He fails, and Kyle Scarrett through, and he's into 14. And honestly, this is really good racing.
It's beautiful racing, and from all the way from the top to the bottom of this grid, obviously still everyone's so close together as Cotton N'Golo, unsurprisingly, fastest lap of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and lap 20 is now commenced, and I believe now it's going to be a very difficult situation for Axelinho, as he has got one FVR driver behind it, Nadi Perez following in P6. Still trying to make up as much ground as possible. However, Jirofu, PA, just out of spin there in the back. Terra Racer has dropped it, I believe, out of turn 1. Haven't quite caught on to that. Yes, he has. That loses him so much ground, of course. You don't have to hope for another safety car here, but this fighting going on up and down the field, it's just brilliant to watch, and I mean, it's going to continue all the way to the last lap.
Moron needed on the back of a tail there in towards turn number 6 as well. Yeah, Terra Racer just coming back, spun coming out of turn number 1. Luckily, he avoided the wall on the left-hand side and didn't pick up any front wing damage. Marlon on the back of Mateo. Mateo on the back of Zapala, closing very quickly in towards turn number 9. Nobody, though, going for the move. In fact, actually, Mateo sweeps to the inside line, and Zapala caught absolutely napping. Now to the outside line. Might just get the job done in towards 10, now through 11, bit of banging wheels, bit of wheel banging coming towards turn 12, and Mateo doesn't want to give any inch of room to Zapala. Zapala doesn't want to give any inch of room to Mateo. This could end an absolute carnage if they're not careful. They're still side by side. This is unbelievable, and they're still side by side coming through turn 15, and Zapala pushes him out wide, and Mateo has to back off. Bit of wishful thinking there. Nadi Perez, more importantly though, makes a mistake in the background and just hangs on to 6th just for now. Zero though had a look in there and towards the final corner, but Axelinho leads the way. Cunning N'Golo in 2nd, Zapala there in 3rd. Mateo though, elbows out between them both. They're not going to have any love lost after this race. Zapala there in 3rd, Mateo there in 4th, and Marlon in 5th. Didn't really counteract because, as you said, on that hard compound tyre, he doesn't have any pace, but Garufo does, down the inside of Zero. Doesn't get the job done.
Yeah, for the moment, he just sticks behind that McLaren for now. But maybe it could be an avenue past here into the chicane. It would be crucial, of course, for NLR to make up this position and then put more pressure onto Nadi Perez, who has maybe not got through the field as well as he would have hoped for. But Drofu now gets through and is on the back of that Ferrari, and it's pretty much game on here now for these two. There's a bit of a scrap there in the lower regions of the top 10. Cotton N'Golo still really close to Axelinho, who goes slightly defensive into turn 8. It's just a sign of things to come for these final few laps.
Bas Bremer has just done a beautiful overtake down the inside of turn number 9. As clean as you like. I've never really seen him race for ET8 before. My God, he needs to race for ET8 more. That was beautiful. Job done. Down the inside line. Clean as a whistle. Perfect. Class racing. Bas Bremer he's into 8th. But he needs to catch up to Grufo.
Yeah, Jirofu is now trying to put a lot of pressure, of course, on that Ferrari. And Bas Bremer has lost some time with that fighting, and it would be crucial, of course, for Jirofu himself to maybe just get some pressure off his shoulders. If he could maybe try and gap that Red Bull at the back. Zero goes really wide there, exit turn 1. Keeps it on the road more or less. But it's just the nature of this track, the nature of the DRS zones being put right back to back. Obviously serves up some brilliant action all the way up and down the field. Zero now coming with a very tight line, and might well be looking to make a move here. Bas Bremer, outside of 1 second at the moment, though, has the DRS still. So it's really tight all the way down this straight.
It is, and pretty much all of this spawns all the way downwards to where Kyle Scarrett is, down in 15th position. It's a 14-car train, with Bas Bremer really becoming the cork in the bottle in the middle of it, still hanging on to DRS somehow. Cotton N'Golo, though, getting on the back of Axelinho once again, not getting the job done. Oh, he gets caught in the bump, actually, coming through the curb at turn 9. Gets caught in the bump. Maybe a tiny bit of suspension damage off that, if anything. Don't think there was much in that, though. Axelinho leads the way. Cotton N'Golo there in 2nd. Zapala there in 3rd. And Jav, by the way, saying in the chat, I'm more nervous than Babatunde doing a Bush Tucker trial. That's Chris Moyles tonight doing a Bush Tucker trial for I'm a Celeb. Axelinho leads the way. Cotton N'Golo in 2nd. M. Sapala in third. I don't know why I was going to say Matt Hancock was in third. Goodness me. He might be at the end of I'm Sled, who knows. It's the only time he'll be third in his life. Axelino, Cunningham, Sapala, currently the top three. Matteo in fourth, Marlon in fifth with 7 laps to go.
I mean, just 7 laps now. It's such a brilliant race that it's been. Marlon now under immense pressure from Nadi Perez behind us. He's made a mistake, I believe, out of turn 1, turn 2 as well. And that Ferrari is looking very, very racy, as he has throughout this entire race, having to make up positions all the time. But Jirofu is coming up on the back of these two. Doesn't seem like he can make a move at the moment. Yellow flag there. So that Skyline. Yes, it is. In the Aston Martin. Lost a lot of ground, unfortunately. Oh, look at Nadi Perez. How's he gone for that? Oh, no. That's a slight tap there. Oh, my word. This is going to keep going all the way down to this turn 8.
Yeah, this is going to be real chaos, but everyone now running in single file once again. Very good stuff. Very good racing. And everyone, I am sure, in the commentary box, as well as me, as well as everyone in the comment section, are getting very nervous at this stage, because we know what is going to come, potentially, from these guys at the end of the race. All of these guys on form are probably the best in their racecraft, the best in the business on the PS platform, and this is why we love EML Premier so much. I'm even nervous commentating on this, and we've still got 6 laps to go, and it takes a good race to make me nervous, put it that way. Axelino out on top, Kunangulu in second, Sapala there in third. Looking at some of the comments that are coming through, May saying 330 for FER, NLR 317. Ideally, from a Garufu perspective, maybe another safety car?
Could be. It really could be, because the gap, obviously, it is a top, what is that? Top, well, 14. It's pretty much 17 drivers and 1 DRS train again, so scrap that. But still, 1 and 7 is still a slightly bigger gap than 2 and 6, which could help NLR overall in the end, probably. But yeah, Cotton N'Golo is going to keep putting relentless pressure on the back of that Williams of Axelino. And the ERS is not looking too different for these two, but I think Cotton N'Golo just has ever so slightly more. And Axelino may begin to struggle now in the lead of this race. Is Cotton N'Golo, will he try to go for anything? No. I don't think so, no.
Not close enough. He had the exit, to be honest, coming out of turn number 8. Turn number 7 in towards turn number 8 through the little kink, but didn't get the job done. He's, I think, really banking on things really becoming to the final lap of the race, and we're going to get a Verstappen-Hamilton sort of battle between these guys. I really hope we do, because honestly, we want it to be fair, we want it to be legitimate, not like it was in real life, obviously. Snipes picks up a 3-second penalty right on the back. I will cause a few issues, I'm sure, in the comments with my commentary, with my comments there as well. But actually, leads away, Kuningolo in second, Sapala there in third, Nicolo saying, let's effing get them. And yeah, totally agree, I think, on that. But hopefully everyone is fair and loving more. It is 5 tenths now. Nadi Perez right on the back of Marlon for 5th. Trying to go through turn number 3 side by side, but he doesn't get the job done. This time, though, he's going to go for the move. Is he down the inside of turn number 5? On the inside line, that's audacious from Nadi Perez. Tries to get the job done. Marlon forced out of track limits there slightly. And Nadi Perez and Marlon. Nadi Perez, just too much straight line speed. I think he's banking on that more than anything. He is through and he's into 4th. And Colin N'Golo now running the back of the Axelino once again. Not quite close enough, but this battle now looks like 6 cars for the leaders. Garofu now beginning to lose his pace.
Yes, indeed. I've kept an eye a little bit on Jirofu here, and I mean, Marlon earlier on, again exiting turn 1, he's making a lot of mistakes in this race at the moment, and that has just cost him the position to Nadi Perez. I thought Jirofu might be able to capitalize a little bit more than he has, but he's down in P7 and losing more time. It's like a Slash, oh my word, Slash and Payne going for it there for P10, obviously last position in the top 10, and Payne can't make anything work into this third sector. It's just brilliant racing all the way from top to bottom in this field. I mean, it's separated by almost nothing anyways. It's crazy how close it is.
Zero with a huge mistake coming out of 14. Just nearly went in the wall. I think he escaped right on end plate damage on the car, but that was nearly Nicholas Latifi-esque. At this point in the race, pretty near the end. Axelino leads the way. Kuningolo in second, Sapolo there in third, Matteo in 4th. I'm just trying to hold my breath at this stage for what is about to happen. If we get to the end of this lap and there's no safety car at the end of this lap, we will go right to the checkered flag with racing. It's only a maximum of 2 laps, remember, for the safety car. Therefore, they all get cleanly to the end of this lap. This will be 3 laps to the end of the race. As Snipes has spun coming out of turn number 3. He has lost the position. The Skyline, he was now in 17th position. And I thought there was a VSC for a minute there. I was getting a little bit nervous. Axelino leads. Cunningham in second now. The FER man is right on the back once again. He has a better exit though, Axelino. And that is just enough to try and pull him away. Cunningham this time around might try and be enticed for the move. Nari Perez the same. Might be trying to entice for the move. As Axelino has the feelings to defend enough in towards turn number 9 and still leading the way. I am getting very nervous at this stage. I don't know how my co-commentator's feeling the Snipes to spun again.
Yeah, I mean,
and Payne is spun as well.
Here, oh yeah, Payne is around there in the middle sector. Actually, the final sector. He's made a bit of a mistake. Sort of held on to it a little bit. One thing I am pointing out here right now is MC Parla might well be a little bit of a dark horse here. He doesn't have too much ERS. Armateo now actually having to defend from Nari Perez. Maybe a bit of a snap overstay on the exit of turn 15. And yeah, there's just 3 laps to go, and it's obviously a really, really tight contest.
Oh my God!
Nari Perez. Oh, massive snap of oversteer, pushing the absolute limits there.
I was on board with that. How on earth he kept that in a straight line and do not know. Marlon now right on the back of him in towards turn number 5.
Ooh.
Not going to lunge it to the inside line. But that was cold brown if I've ever seen it from Nari Perez. Just about keeping that car in a straight line. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, he is a former Williams Esports man. As Sapala is on the back of Codningolo. Codningolo on the back of Axelino. Looks like he might attack for the race lead, but he remains in behind. Everyone remaining behind for now once again. Next time around though, all hell is going to break loose, and I'm all for it. Axelino leads the way. Cunningham in second. Sapala in third. Sapala that wants to try and make something happen now. Cunningham wants to make something happen now in towards turn number 9. He's on the EOS, tries to go all the way around the outside, but Axelino still firm in his defence. Firm in his defensive lines, and Axelino still leads the way. Cunningham in second. Sapala there in third. How on earth this race is going to end, we don't know, but what I can tell you certainly is there's 10.5 kilometres left pretty much in this race. Axelino, Cunningham, Sapala top 3 as Jake has spun through turn 9.
Yeah, this is just incredible, really. For this entire race, one safety car period that has caused a slight upset maybe for some of the drivers in this top train. But Axelino is still leading the way, looking like he can maybe cope from with the pressure from Codningolo behind. But it might, in the end, still come to nothing. And this is just 1 and 7 for NLR, which is not enough to knock FBR off the top here. Could that have been a warning maybe for Axelino? I think he's got pretty deep. Oh, so that is a big... Yeah, that's...
Where is he?
Marlon.
Can't even see him. Where is he? I can't even see him. And that's coming out of turn number 2. Turn number 2 for Marlon. I think he took too much curb. As I said, he was going to let himself get into his own head, and I think that's exactly what's happened there, to be honest. Leads the way. Axelino still, Cunningham in second, Zapata there in third. That's unfortunate for Marlon. He didn't really deserve that. Again, very, very bad mistake right at the end of this race. VIR cost points, but what I can say though is Codningolo is going to go for the race leading towards turn number 9. Yep. Right on the back of Axelino. This is the move that can determine the race. Codningolo round the outside of turn number 9. Axelino though still stoic in his defence and still hangs on to the race lead. But maybe with his ERS advantage for Codningolo, maybe not for long.
This is going to be so close. And I mean, we have Girofa moving up 1 place, of course, with that mistake from Marlon. He's such a...
Kyle Scarrett and Marlon, sorry to cut you off, there's a real battle going on here. Marlon and Kyle Scarrett were side by side there, and Nari Perez, in fact, I think is side by side with Mateo, and Garufo nearly goes for a spin on the inside curb. Final lap in Abu Dhabi. This comes down to now. EML Premier 1 Championship. Who was going to take the race? But it's been NLR and FER throughout this race, and NLR still lead the way with Axelino. Codningolo there in second. Zapala there in third. Nari Perez is not close enough to the back of Mateo to lunge a move. They can stay as they are though. They have got enough in the championship to win. Garofo really needs to spin, and Axelino spins, and that is it. Axelino spins, coming out of turn number 5 on a low level corner. He had it at turn 13, and exactly the same. Nari Perez is going to counteract on that and now go for the move. Mateo for third. Tries to go down the inside line towards turn number 6. gets the job done. Axelino did not deserve that. He was absolutely gunning it out in front. A real sour end, I think, to the race. Unfortunately, mistakes do happen, and that's what we've saw with Axelino. The pressure, the occasion, just got her in there. And FVR now handed a free goal to the checkered flags. Nardi Perez stoic in his defence. Maybe doesn't even know that Axelino was spun there in 9th, but Colin N'Golo still leading the way. Handed this race, you could argue, on an absolute plane as Garufo nearly on the back of Matteo in towards turn number 12, trying to get the job done. But Colin N'Golo leads the way. Coming through the final couple of corners, it has been an absolute masterclass of driving from FVR and NLR this season. Only one picks up the championship, and this goes to FVR. Colin N'Golo takes the win in Abu Dhabi. Sapolo there in 2nd, Nardi Perez in 3rd, Matteo in 4th. Garufo tried his best on the final lap to try and get some extra points there in 5th. Zero in 6th, Slash in 7th, Basbrain in 8th, and Axelino. So unfortunately, I don't know how my co-commentator is feeling at this stage. Axelino spinning it out of turn number 5, ends up from a potential P1 all the way down in 9th position and handed FVR the championship on a silver platter on the final lap of the race. But what I will say though, FVR and NLR have been absolutely brilliant in their battles all season. Every single driver that has competed this season for FVR and NLR, you deserve the absolute world, because that battle in Abu Dhabi, FVR versus NLR, it was going to come down to a season decider. Maybe not ended the way we were hoping, but certainly a well thought out battle by two brilliant teams.
Such a shame indeed. I mean, it was... I could kind of... I was thinking in that last sector of the... I think penultimate lap it would have been, that any kind of mistake could see an upset in this championship battle, and, well, it has happened, as you have clearly seen, which is obviously so unlucky that the championship ends in this way, but does not take away from the brilliance of driving that FBR have put on over the course of this season, with a 1-3 finish, only split it by the Haas, so SR driver of MC Fowler, really strong drive as Colin N'Golo now lifts the P1 trophy into the skies of Abu Dhabi. Brilliant performance from the team.
Definitely, brilliant performance from the team indeed. FBR, I think, it was a little bit of a mountain to climb for NLR, you could argue, coming into tonight. 17 points, 18 points obviously to win the championship. Axelino, as Mays has quite rightly said, driver of the season. He took the Drivers' Championship, for goodness sake. We shouldn't really put a downer on that at all. 9th position doesn't mean a lot when you've got class racing like what we had tonight in Abu Dhabi. Every single person, no matter what team you're affiliated to, no matter what commentary team you're affiliated to either, should be very proud of the performances that these guys have put on tonight. I certainly really enjoyed that one. Colin N'Golo out on top, from Sapala there in 2nd, who arguably is my driver of the day, I think, given how strong his performance was tonight. Nardi Perez there in 3rd, Matteo there in 4th. Normally doesn't do well in the races. There in 4th, great job from the Red Bull man. Garufo there in 5th, with Zero in 6th, Slash in 7th, Bremer in 8th, Axelino in 9th, Fleddy there in 10th, Marlon in 11th, then Kyle Scarrett, Harlow, Tom and Scott on top 15. Payne, Terror Racer, J. Cole, Snipes, who I think retired or was down a lap, I think, at the end, down there in 19th, and Terror Racer, obviously, at the back of the field. Oh, sorry, not Terror Racer, at the back of the field. It was the other FRL man, I think, at the back of the field, who, my name has absolutely escaped me there. I'm not sure. Who was it? Who DNF'd? It was Victor. It was Victor. Yeah. It was Victor. It's not even an FRL man. It's a Scuderia Rosso man. You can tell it's been a long night. Goodness me. Great championship by all. And as I was saying there, FER and LR deserve the world, I think, after that performance. It was brilliant. Great racing. Very, very nervous for us in the commentary box. Probably more on one side than the other. But certainly a really well fought championship. And congratulations to FER. I know we're going to be seeing them next season, because I know they've already signed up for next season, even before the final round of the championship for EML Season 4, which is going to come to you live after the new year, unfortunately. So this is Wednesday's done on League Racing TV moving forward. But I will give you, if I can find it somewhere, the calendar. But any thoughts on the FER NLR battle throughout the season, Alex?
Yeah, I followed it very closely, obviously, throughout, as Yeah, I've been involved in this as well. Obviously, for tonight, I would have been a reserve driver as well, so I'm pretty much as involved in NLR as you could be. And yeah, so it's such a super close fight. It's pretty much the Titans fight here between these two. And yeah, eventually, I would still say the stronger team came out on top. On balance, they have been much stronger throughout these races here. And yeah, what can you make of this consistency? This is FBR's first race victory since round 2, which just shows how consistently they've been picking up those points, which NLR may not have been able to do. That win, obviously, last time out, did promote them into this fantastic position to challenge again. But overall, the stronger team over the season have been FBR. And yeah, probably the favourites did win in the end, and fantastic. It's just hats off to them. Brilliant performance over the season, and can't wait to see more in the next season, definitely. Brilliant driving from all of them throughout the entire season.
Definitely so, indeed. You can obviously go in the description if you don't want to. You can type it in on Twitter at EML_F1. I've just retweeted it on my Twitter as well. The EML Season 4 calendar. Bahrain is the first round of the championship in Sakhir, around, of course, the Bahrain International Circuit. 11th of January, mark that in your diaries. 11th of January, the start of Season 4 of EML Premier 1, and indeed, for that matter, EML Premier 2, which both will be covered at 8 PM UK time on the channel once again, and once again powered by not Neverlast Racing, by Next Level Racing, another NLR that is sponsoring us in the championships next season once again. Bahrain, though, first round of the championship, Saudi Arabia for round 2, then Imola for round number 3, Barcelona for round 4, Austria for round 5. Then we've got our first of 2 break weeks in the EML calendar. We go to Le Castellet in France for round number 6. A bonjour to everyone there on the 22nd of February. Netherlands for round 7. Marina Bay, Singapore in round 8, which I agreed to, by the way, in terms of the racing that we saw this season and what I've seen certainly in other leagues as well. The racing, when you get it, is very good around there. So Singapore for round 8. Then another break week on the 15th of March, and then we're back on the 22nd of March and the 29th of March for a doubleheader in the Americas, in Austin, Texas, first and foremost, in North America, and then over to South America for the season finale in Brazil, which is going to be very, very interesting indeed. And all of that, of course, will be covered live on the League Racing TV channel. And that brings us on, I think, very neatly to our announcement. I think we said it last week, but I'm not sure if people obviously tuned in at this point last week. Myself and Alex are going to be taking you through EML Premier Season 4, Tier 1 once again.
Yeah, it's just such an exciting chapter, really, and obviously after this close fight, and it's just a sign of things to come, really, for the coming seasons. The fights, I don't think they're going to be much closer than that, and I just expect this to continue even further and further, pushing the teams to the absolute limits and producing, hopefully, some absolutely brilliant races where, in the end, we might see... well, might even see some samba dancing there in the end. In Brazil, obviously, a brilliant track for a season finale, and the winner will pick up, obviously, the championship trophy in Interlagos. Such a brilliant track to end the season on. And in general, we are in for a very, very exciting season with FVR, obviously, the defending champions. So all the pressure is on them to deliver such a stellar performance again.
Yeah, definitely so indeed. I'm now winging it my way through Twitter just to see what is going on with prizes, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong in this. Don't trust me for absolute pleasure. I have a feeling Axelino, because he won the Drivers' Championship, correct me if I'm wrong, Maze, if you're still here in the chat, I believe he does get a rig from Next Level Racing, if I'm not mistaken. It might only be TML only, and if that is the case, then Black Box, of course, will get the championship for TML F1. But I believe that is the case for EML. As I say, correct me if I'm wrong on that, I could be totally wrong, but... yeah, I'm led to believe, anyways, that is the case. And yeah, Maze has just confirmed it. Yeah, Axelino will have an NLR rig coming to his way, which you have seen in the adverts this season. The same one that you've seen in the adverts, he will be getting. It's the GT Light, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, to remember off the top of my head. And FER, because they won, they get money as well.
Yeah, of course. This is always the best prospect, really, for a team to enter this championship. This is the real passion that they're driven by, and of course, well, the Drivers' Championship going to NLR, so an NLR rig for the NLR driver. I mean, it was just meant to be, wasn't it? If you want to see it like that. So, yeah, it's just congratulations all around, really, and certainly an even better season to come ahead, I'm sure. Really, really excited to see this again.
Really well excited to see this once again. More action to come on League Racing TV as well. Same commentary box, same time, I think, for both of us tomorrow. It's TML F1 and F2, of course, tomorrow night at 8 PM UK time. Myself and Alex the G, I believe, are going to be taking to the action. As long as you're here, I think I'm certainly going to be here. So TML F1 is going to be covered nonetheless. F2 is going to be covered as well. I'm not sure who was going to be on commentary this week for F2. Hopefully we can get a live stream running for F2. If you're interested in commentating for that, let me know ASAP so I can get you in and get all the permissions set up and everything. Simply Superman, by the way, awarded the Drivers' Championship last week, so that is already dealt with in terms of the battles there. And then F3 and F4, of course, normally it is Ivan Tonchik for F3. F4, unfortunately, not going to be me this week for F3, but for F4, Neymar and Chicken, I believe, are going to be there. That is for certain, and they are going to be covering the live streams, of course, on Friday, which leads us on to the end of tonight's live stream. And I really, really hope you've enjoyed this season of EML Premier. A big thank you to all of the team managers, first and foremost, for entering the teams in to the event and for really being very fair sport out on track. And it has been absolutely a privilege to commentate on the action alongside Storm, alongside any other amount of commentator that I've had this season for EML Premier 1. A big thank you to Mr. Mays, who's there in the comments section. Without him, EML wouldn't happen, so all the thanks really does have to go to him. To the drivers, stewards, of course, Honey Badger, who's there in the background, Conti, who deals with the stewarding as well for EML. Every single person that has been involved behind the scenes, a big thank you to all of them. And a big thank you to the drivers. Without the drivers, there simply wouldn't be the action that you've seen tonight. There simply wouldn't be an EML Premier 1, and there certainly wouldn't be an EML Premier or no League Racing TV either. And I'm not sure if you want to add to that.
Yeah, everything said, really. I've I can only agree with you on these points. Obviously, nothing of this would be possible without all those powers behind, so also from me, a massive, massive thank you to everybody who has been involved in making this season, and really every season, as brilliant as it has been. And yeah, on to more to come in the future, and I can't wait to see the development of this even further up.
It is going to be really fascinating. Of course, if you do want to stay tuned in for the action on League Racing TV, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. We are going to be back tomorrow night, of course, around here, once again in Abu Dhabi. I swear they're not paying us double time to cover the action in Abu Dhabi for both EML and TML. Money is always a factor, though, at the end of the day. And a final thing as well, a big thank you to our sponsors, Next Level Racing, who without, of course, Axelina wouldn't be getting the rig. They wouldn't be sponsoring us in terms of EML Premier, so big, huge thank you to them. And of course they are renewing their partnership with us once again next season for EML, and indeed for that fact I believe for TML as well next season for season number 9. And speaking of which, if you do want to have a check, my final thing, I do promise before I end the stream, everything, we do have a new description now. You can check out our sponsors, of course, for TML and EML Next Level Racing in there in the chat. The Masters League also in there, Twitter, Discord link, and Season 9 sign-ups are now live. They are all in the description, so if you just follow the links there, you'll be able to get it. If you have any trouble, let any of the league directors know. Esports Masters League as well, Twitter and Discord link is in for that, so if you do want to sign up your team next season, to that, of course, you can get the Discord link in and you can sign up your team to maybe win a rig, maybe win some money as well in the prize pool that we will have next season. VRS also in there, and as well as our new British and Irish Esports Championship. All the socials will be updated in due course. We are trying to work very hard in getting the channel fit for purpose, and obviously fit certainly for another season of EML and TML on the channel. And that, from me, is it. I'm now going to watch Chris Smalls probably suck on a cockroach, maybe in his trial, and I'm a celeb. But there we are. What a nice way to end the stream. Thank you so much for watching. And until next year in EML Premier, goodbye.
Goodbye.